she said, I've been offering up my business to the divine and making the divine my CEO, which is something I've mentioned, I think works really well. Like you think, okay, who does this belong to? I'm really installing the divine as the CEO. And so she said, and now while this going well, since doing that, I'm currently experiencing a lull. And though I recognize this in itself might be needed, it has triggered some old money anxiety. And I'm trying to lean into trust and offer up these fears. So she says, I've been working on a new venture for 2 years that I really love, and it's so energizing. But I'm also nudged by another idea related to my 10 years as yes, she's a mental health therapist. So she's got the thing that really turns her on, that's drawing her for the last 2 years. And then she's got this other thing that keeps nudging her. So she said, how do I discern between what's a divine nudge and what's the ego seeking the familiarity, the safety of the familiar? Does that make sense? It's a good question. Like, how do you know when is it time to just plunge into the new? And when is it time that this old thing, is it only coming up to try to keep you trapped in old ways of doing stuff? She said, in the past, I would just follow every nudge and it would just leave me feel stuck and spinning. So she goes, traditional coaching, which isn't this. This is like crazy God coaching. Traditional coaching says, just decide. And she goes, that just feels misaligned with the practice of being open to the divine. I have to make a comment about that. When you live from a place of offering, it really doesn't help when someone says just decide. And if you have Libra rising or Pisces rising or any of these signs that can always see both sides of the equation, before I learned how to do offering, I know exactly what she's talking about. Just sit there, just decide how. How? And then somebody would be like, just make a list of all the positives and negatives. What? I could make lists until my brain fell out. It became so different when I was like, to the inner divine, to the inner Shakti, show me through my body, through my being, through signs, through intervention, show me the route. So I agree with her 100%. If you're certain that may work for some people, but if you are a very sensitive, psychic, open-minded person, does not. Believe me, I would just be lying in bed trying to decide each day the most basic thing. Okay. So she said, I remember you talking about your own business growth when it came into oh yeah, she's talking about when I was wanting to give up giving readings and starting to move more into teaching, and that how I had said I had still had things to learn before it blossomed. And then she said, so maybe I'm in the same boat and I need to learn some things first before the new business takes off. And I think this is a key part of it. This is why when someone says, just decide and make it happen, you can do it, pull yourself up. None of this has anything to do with the natural evolutionary unfolding that may be going on the level of the soul. So yeah, if somebody had said to me back in the day, it was around 2012, I guess, or 2010, just decide you're going to kick all the readings to the curb and jump in and make the business work. I tried it a couple times. It went nowhere because the divine all I got were more and more people clamoring for readings because it wasn't time yet. I would send out announcements for classes and people would write back, that's nice, but how bad is your waiting list? So it wasn't time for it. And it was basically like the universe was saying, you can't be one more of the endless people teaching a bunch of shit you don't even live. You've got to have this integrated in your being before you teach it. That was the gist of it, which included I had to surrender to giving more readings because the act of surrendering to what my ego didn't want to do strangely prepared me for finally doing this work. So, you know, this I just think is she's raising such an interesting topic of how offering works and how every case is different. And no one can say to you, you must do it this way. You must do it this way. Once you're in the place of the deepest offering and you're really saying to the divine, okay, I've got path A that I'm really turned on by. I've got path B that's super familiar and I'm a little bit bored with, but I don't know if that's your will. Maybe I'm meant to still do it for a while. You will only get the answer to that by truly taking the entire mess, offering it back to the divine, and really saying, this is now yours to show. Is it A? Is it B? Or is it actually both? Because in the end, it started off for me, the more I surrendered to continuing doing the readings, the more she was waiting for my surrender. That was the issue. Instead of cursing it and, oh, I'm so sick of these, like, after you do 30,000, isn't it time to do something else, God? Like, come on, give me a break. She was waiting for me to just go, you know what? I'll just do these however long you want until I've learned whatever my soul has to learn. Once I embraced that, all of a sudden the door started opening and people were like, oh, how about this? How about that? So at the core of this is the insane way we're taught to make these decisions from a place of doership, the doership of the brain. Yeah, Alana's saying, this is great. She goes, the just decide mindset feels like a form of gaslighting. When I've operated this way, I felt an enormous underlying pressure to deny divine timing and to deny my authentic unfolding. Yeah, I would say it's very patriarchal to me. I mean, it fits very much like the standard business books that are out there mostly coming out of white male patriarchal thought. Do it, make it happen. You're strong enough, pull yourself up, you're a badass. I'm like, it doesn't work if you have a certain kind of energy and you're an old soul and your purpose is to align with something greater. But it also doesn't mean passively laying there hoping that God sends down some army of angels to make it all happen. That's why what we're doing here is so specific. You can feel it when you're really doing it. You're offering, but you're calling in the right actions. You're following the signs. You're taking care of the terrified kid who's like, what if it doesn't change? There's all these pieces to it that we keep constantly going through over and over and over to get them anchored in people's bodies.